You are listening to The Real Men Feel Show with Andy Grant. Real Men Feel encourages men to allow and express all of their emotions. Despite what you may have been taught, all emotions do serve you. Real Men Feel is committed to engaging in discussions that most men aren't having, but you don't need to be a man to join us. The Real Men Feel Show is produced weekly for your growth and enjoyment. Listen to us on podcast platforms including iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and many more. You can also watch the show on YouTube by visiting realmenfeel.org/YouTube. Come back often and feel free to add the podcast to your favorite RSS feed or subscribe on iTunes by visiting realmenfeel.org/iTunes. You can follow us on Twitter at realmenfeelorg and at facebook.com/realmenfeelshow. All links mentioned in each episode are in the show notes found on the blog at realmenfeel.org. Real Men Feel is brought to you by the Good Men Project. Visit goodmenproject.com for more of the conversations no one else is having. Your reviews, comments, feedback, and participation are welcome during the live show and anytime in our Facebook group, on Twitter, or at realmenfeel.org. Now, let's get into this week's show. Hello and welcome to a special edition of Real Men Feel. We are on top of the breaking news game here. No, we're not. There's one thing that everyone's been talking about for the past week and even longer, and it's the Kavanaugh hearings. Is looking for confirmation to the Supreme Court, and with Dr. Ford and the conversations and the accusations and oh my God, he drank and no, he touched girls and whatever it is or not. But I wanted to get a couple other guys to just talk about this. So I intentionally sought out guys that I don't know for sure, but I think are probably of a different opinion of all of this than I am. So I would like to welcome some returning guests from Real Men Feel, the ghosts of Real Men Feel past, perhaps. But I want to welcome in Tony.
How you doing? How's it going?
It's going good. We're going to have fun. And also Al.
Hi, how are you?
Very good. So we're here to talk about the Kavanaugh hearings. And so my first question is, when Brett Kavanaugh was first nominated, were you guys like, oh, good, that's a great choice. Like, this should be easy?
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, he's impeccable record. They still haven't found anything the bad about him.
Okay. And did you know his name at all before? Do you follow judges?
I didn't know his name at all.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't follow judges.
All right.
And hopefully judges don't follow me.
Yeah, that's more the case.
That's the more important part.
Cool. So I hadn't heard of him either, and I knew Trump had, even since campaigning, Trump had his list of judges he would use and accept, and liked all these people from the list. So I thought, great, whatever, it'll go through. I personally just started getting weird when they were talking about he had so much records and so much information, and Democrats were saying they didn't have time to read through it. And I get that they were trying to push through before the midterms, and again, that's all fine and dandy. That's all politics. But this took the really sudden turn when Dr. Ford, someone that he went to high school with and had some shared youth experiences, and she didn't go public first. So she wrote to Feinstein with her issues and asked to be anonymous, but asked them to look into this. And as of today, so we're talking on October 4th, it's still, no one has officially been discovered as the leak, or however it happened, it happened. So it became public, and once it became public, Dr. Ford allowed herself to be identified and became public as reporters were kind of hounding her life. So she had the big hearing, and was it just last Thursday, guys?
Wow.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So it's been a week from today. Things are moving fast. But anyway, so did you guys watch that live or see coverage of it after?
I watched it live.
Yeah.
No, I watched. I was at work, so it was tough to watch it here. But I did watch film clips, bits and pieces of it after the fact.
Cool. So when I saw it, I'm like, wow, what a compelling, powerful, brave woman. And I think even Trump was saying like, wow, she's powerful.
Yeah.
So was that your kind of overall reaction initially as well?
I agree that she had a very powerful day, and I believe that something definitely happened to her. There's no question about that, in my mind. Yeah, but I don't believe that it was Kavanaugh. And even the FBI just released their seventh investigation today, and they say there's no evidence whatsoever that it was him. They're not saying that something didn't happen to her, but they're saying there's zero evidence that it was him.
Right.
So based on zero evidence, you can't. His life is already pretty much ruined anyway, even if he becomes a justice. Because this is. Can you imagine this happening to you or me? It's great.
Yeah, that's something I have an issue with, because not becoming a Supreme Court justice doesn't ruin anyone's life. Like, he's a federal judge for life already. So to say he's ruined by this, I don't get.
But this will. I mean, he's going to be getting haunted with phone calls and haters and people just saying that he's a rapist, and all of these things are going to happen in his life. And not only him, I really feel bad for his two daughters. I mean, this should never have come out, because people have families, wives, children. It's horrible all around. There's no way around it.
So after just seeing her speak last Thursday, I thought, all right, they're going to withdraw, because even Trump was seemed sympathetic, and she seemed very credible. So I thought they were just he was going to withdraw. That was my expectation.
I was hoping not.
Yeah. So then when Kavanaugh spoke, I was really he just came like furious and vengeful, but also emotional, and which again, hosting Real Men Feel, I love that part. But once he started having tears, I swear to God, when he started having tears, I thought he just lost Trump, because Trump just ridicules men that get emotional, and I really thought that was going to turn Trump off, incredibly so. And I don't know if I'm not bugging the White House. I don't know if anything like that happened, but so Al, what did you see? What did you feel from Kavanaugh's response?
It's tough to talk about this, because in this environment, it's almost like you don't have freedom of speech anymore. If you look at when I put that post on Facebook yesterday about the New York Times, it was a joke, but you get a visceral reaction from people. So if I say I don't believe her, I'm with Tony. I think something happened. I don't think it was Kavanaugh. But if I say I don't believe her, I'm now branded a sexist. I don't support women who are survivors. Kavanaugh is being called a rapist. Nobody accused him of rape, but I've heard people in these protests accusing him of being a rapist. How could you do that? And I really feel like freedom of speech, if you disagree with what's going on, you're really being stifled on speaking your mind. I think him being emotional, if you're being falsely accused, I'd be emotional, judge or not to judge. I just think it's funny that some of these senators are citing that now as his inability to be a judge because he's emotional, but then you have Cory Booker, who makes a speech, some Spartacus, and then gets up and leaves the hearing. What could be more emotional than you're getting up and leaving your job? Yeah.
So there's like a line judges are not supposed to be political, and the political acts of politicians in one thing, and judges. I mean, when I was growing up, I was like judges were somehow these stoic people. I never even thought of judges as being, conservative or liberal or right. I never even thought of that until recent years. I didn't think that was a thing.
And they are. They are very political, I believe. Yeah. But as a judge, if you're judging a case, they're not impugning your integrity. The case is not going to be about you if you're a Supreme Court judge. But when you're being told by these senators these accusations, it's going to get personal. And then you have his wife, his daughters. But again, I don't want to make it sound like I'm disregarding Dr. Ford at all, because then I'll be earmarked as somebody who doesn't support women who come forward. Exactly. What gets me the most is, I guess, the hypocrisy. If we look at Juanita Broderick, she's been saying for years that Bill Clinton raped her, and nobody does anything about it.
Nobody even cares.
No, and you have Kavanaugh, who may have groped a girl in high school, and again, I'm not discounting that, but you're going crazy, and yet nobody does anything about people that go against Clinton.
Yeah.
Right.
And I can't. I want to do our best to focus on today because I mean,
I understand.
Quickly,
And I'm not
because I don't know. I remember Bill when he was running and all the stories.
Right.
And it was a time when and his idol was John Kennedy,
right.
who was
Right.
all over every woman in town.
And again, I'm not a fan of what about so and so, but if we're talking about today, what annoys me the most is the hypocrisy that in the past this was never been an issue, and the fact that isn't there a slush fund in the Congress to pay off sexual?
I think that was
charges?
eliminated. I think that was eliminated when it came to light.
When they discovered it existed.
Yeah.
But the fact that it existed. So that's where I get upset. I think this has escalated to a point that it's purely political.
Absurd.
To keep this from having him confirmed, they're trying to push it past the new election, the midterms.
Yep.
That's what frustrates me. And again, I don't want to keep saying I don't believe her because I do believe something happened, but I just believe that they politicized it so much, and everybody's screaming at each other. Like you say, we're here to talk, but everybody out there is just screaming. Nobody's changing anybody else's mind.
Right.
No.
On Facebook or these protests.
Let's not forget too, like you said, I absolutely believe that something happened to her. But let's also bring to light that she has almost $1 million in GoFundMe money now, and her lawyers are pro bono.
Right.
I mean but nobody even mentions that.
Because that's pretty ridiculous. It's not. She couldn't have. She thinks I'm going to disrupt my story. I'm going to make the story because someone might set up a GoFundMe. Like it's not.
Well,
you're talking about something that's happened after the fact.
All I'm saying is it's part of the story. If he had a GoFundMe page for him, they would be all over it. Like, he's being paid off. All I'm saying is it's a two-way street. On one side, everything gets brought up and thrown into the story. On the other side, it's all very quiet.
Well, anyone can make a GoFundMe page, and I bet people are making it to support Kavanaugh as well. So we just haven't.
Well, one of them was created by her. So,
I haven't seen that.
Well, Andy, if you want to start a GoFundMe page for me, I'd be very happy with that.
All right, what's your dilemma? I'll have to make up what we need to fix about Al.
What's my dilemma? Have you not read my blog? Have you not read about my ex-wife? I mean,
I thought she was the bright light in your life.
Well, actually, if you set up a GoFundMe page for me, it would end up going to her anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Cool. So
but you get keep your money.
So to get back to the point, and what I believed through last Thursday was I believe both of them. I believe they both believe they're telling the truth.
Right.
And by not being attached politically, I can actually sit back and see that. Now, the thing that surprises me is why is everyone so attached to Kavanaugh? Like, I'm surprised Trump, look, there's no matter what going forward, talk about his life is ruined, but he's certainly stained. Like, there will be doubts around him on the Supreme Court, and just brings this taint. So I'm just why don't they just go to one of the other conservative judges that could be, confirmed before the midterms and the same timeline? What are your thoughts on that?
If he has an impeccable record, and he's never had anything that is even considered a stain, this is not really a stain. This is them throwing crap against the wall, trying to make it stick. And you can see through that.
This is a stain. This is like stain. Yeah. It doesn't, if it comes fact or rumor, whatever it is, this is going to be there. It's there.
And I don't think he should be punished because of something that never happened, that he never did.
Yeah.
They're trying to make it guilty until proven innocent. And that's not the way this country works.
So one thing about his testimony that changed me and why I'm, I didn't really care. I expected him to be confirmed, and now I'm more against him. And it's not because of Dr. Ford's charges. I believe he lied under oath now. The whole just the silly stuff, the yearbook. Like, if he had said, I drank a lot, I might have, I've done bad things. And if he owned it more, I could take that. But he's the deny, and acting like a choir boy, and now tons more people that knew him. Oh, he was in a blackout. He was a stumbling drunk. All this stuff keeps showing up. And so that's what I feel like he lied about those things, how he portrayed himself. And I'm concerned that someone if he's willing to lie so much to get this job, that's my concern.
What about the things that Dr. Ford said, her fear of flying, and then you find out that she flew all the time?
Plenty of people fly, but they're afraid of it. Being afraid of something doesn't mean you never do it.
But
she wouldn't fly to the hearings.
Right.
Yeah.
That delayed it. That delayed it more. That's what I feel. A lot of this are tactics to simply delay this. Right. And I guess one of the things I'm thinking is if Kavanaugh steps down, you bring in another person. Right. Yeah. It starts all over again. They will find somebody to say something about that person.
There were some females on Trump's list, and I've heard that if Kavanaugh doesn't do it, he was going to nominate a woman.
Right.
Don't you think that would kind of diffuse this whole sexually charged stuff where the whole society's trying to figure out?
Personally, I think I would love to see Condoleezza Rice get nominated.
I would too.
I mean, I think she'd be great.
But going back to Ford, she actually said under oath that she had a second door put in her house because of her fears. She needed to have an escape route. And now we come to find out that she put that door in because her and her husband had started another business, and that was the entrance for the business. So that's lying under oath.
Well, can it be both? Like, I don't know what came first, but once you have a door, can it be some other purpose? Like, I don't know the details of that, but it's...
Well, no, she never mentioned the business or anything. She said it was specifically done for that, and it made the front of her house not look good.
Yeah, I remember.
And that was never said anything else about that.
She's not looking to be a judge knows what lying under oath is.
I'm not saying, but she knows what lying is. You know.
No, there's the nonsense of the yearbook stuff, like redefining Devil's Triangle and Booth, and just saying, "Oh, that's a drinking game," and just those are just lies. That's just dumb. Like, why? Like, that's what I don't get. Why do you have to think? Why do you have to lie about these nonsense things? Just own it. Just like, But I'm really like, I loved beer. I was a drunk in high school and college. I don't drink as much now, so I think I'm just younger than him. Yeah, but I'm like, I love beer. I still love beer. Like, geez, I don't know if I want a Supreme Court guy that loves beer that much.
Well, I think he was trying to make the point that he did drink in high school, and he still likes beer now. But again, it's hard to say exactly how someone is going to respond when they're under. I mean, he's been under the amount of pressure he's been under has been insane. I mean, his family every day. So that kind of thing, that's nothing.
So,
nothing.
So you don't. It doesn't. So even if you can see those kind of things that he probably wasn't telling the full truth. I don't understand why he bothered, but you don't care.
Well, let me ask you a question. 30 years he's been a judge, I guess they said 30.
Yeah.
Have any of his decisions been dismissed or overturned because of alcohol or drinking or
no? None.
I don't know that.
His record.
Well, I don't need. That's why I'm asking. I don't know.
I'm telling you.
So if his record's been impeccable for 30 years, what's going to change now? If he likes beer and likes drinking and he's been an impeccable judge.
Well, what changes it for me is that, if he's lying now, was he lying? That's what I mean. Like, so I will always, not about the charges, not about how someone, I will always wow, I don't trust him as much as I would like to trust someone who's on the Supreme Court. And that's just me personally. And it's not, I don't believe it's political. Like, I don't care what party he's from or anything like that, but it's just.
Okay. But Andy, I promise you that no matter, because the Dems said right from the very beginning, before a name was put out, that they would go completely against anyone that Trump put up. And this is what you're seeing now. This is exactly and this is going to change the way things are done forever, because what was going to be a blue wave is now becoming a red wave, because people are so angry and upset over the games that these senators are playing. But
it started years ago when I forget his name now. When Obama nominated someone, and Republicans said, "Nope, we're not gonna. It shouldn't happen now." And so it all comes back. These guys, both sides play the same games, and they come back and hurt you when you're out of power.
Well, I agree with you up to a point, and that's it was a. I lost my train of thought. I hate that.
I can tell you're Republican now.
Oh yeah.
So the Obama, and I don't remember.
Garland? Was it?
Garland? I believe it.
Eric Garland?
So would it be better that they did put him up for confirmation and then totally assassinate his character, like they're doing to Kavanaugh? I mean,
well, again, the Kavanaugh being attacked wasn't until like Christine Ford came forward, right? It wasn't until then that I was aware of.
Well, they had 6 weeks of hearings that they could have brought that up.
Right.
And they said nothing because they thought they could put enough on him to not get a vote. Once they saw that they lost that vote, and he was going to be nominated, confirmed. Then at the last minute, they threw that in to delay. And, they don't care who they assassinate. They don't care whose families they destroy. It's just, that was their, their ace in the hole trying to get him out.
And I guess
isn't that because Christine Ford didn't want to be public? Like, I can see that they had this information. She only came forward. She didn't want to be a story until she seemed to have no choice.
They could have brought it up anonymously. They could have asked questions based on her story. They didn't. You could ask questions based on what she wrote. They said nothing. I mean, there was nothing there. And then it was at the very last minute after the hearings were over, it was done. And then, oh no. Well, we have this letter.
And they had the letter since July.
Exactly.
And Feinstein interviewed with Kavanaugh and never mentioned anything.
Not once.
So again, that's where the frustration comes in, is that it's purely a political stunt.
Well, don't they get? I mean, and especially now that it becomes news, people call in and and even didn't guys calling say, no, I think I'm who molested her, and people like volunteering.
Well, the other frustrating part is, again, the New York Times article that said he threw ice at somebody. All right, why spend that much time? But the other thing is the New Yorker article, where the woman in college said he did things to her. No collaboration.
Yeah.
And then it's finding out that, there's no witnesses to any of that.
Right.
But they write an article in the New Yorker, and you write an article.
Like it's fact.
Right.
Well,
and
it's someone. Yeah. I mean, and I've heard people ridicule, it's anonymous sources. They write these articles. And now, here's someone willing to say, hey, this happened to me. And you're attacking them for publishing that. How do you?
I'm not attacking. Go ahead.
No, I'm not attacking her.
No, I mean the story. I saw you were, making fun of these articles that they are uncorroborated. But a person saying this happened to me, that's.
But shouldn't there be some investigation before you put it out there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Besides just talking to that person. And what was the story about him on a boat?
I know. Yeah, I've only heard that from his testimony. I'm like, where's this boat fight I missed? I don't know what that.
But there's I think I read something that the person that made those allegations are now being charged for false allegations.
Oh, and that's what should happen.
And absolutely,
right,
but it's like putting the toothpaste back in the tube. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. It's out there. And the woman that said he was part of the rape gangs.
The rape party. 10 of them. And she kept going back.
And you can't find one person to collaborate it, but then this is out there, and this is part of the discussion, even if it's not true.
Yeah. Well, that's what I do like, and I respect the Senate for trying and saying, no, we're focusing on this woman that came and spoke to us live. We're focusing on that, and not just the hearsay. And because I'm.
So when the FBI comes back and they find out that there's no.
They did.
So just before we started today, and again, this is it hasn't been officially released because it's not going to be released to the public. But stories.
And that's the other thing. They called for an FBI investigation, but then they don't want to make it public. So,
right. That's what I mean. That's why the stain is going to continue. It without this being more public. I expect Kavanaugh to be confirmed, but I think it's bad, and it just gets I believe all these people believe they're telling the truth.
Right.
But it's such a mess that the mess is going to keep going.
Right.
But Andy, that was the point. They wanted to make it a mess. That's exactly the result that they wanted, because they thought they would just muddy the waters enough until until Trump would say, okay, we just need to pull his name.
Yeah.
Right. But Trump's not going to do that. Okay. Because he's a fighter. He's not going to do that. And Kavanaugh is weathering the storm. And in my opinion, as they should, because this is all such a pile of crap.
So I saw an interview with the leader of the Federalist Society, and that's the think tank that put together this list for Trump, and he didn't care. He was like, "Oh, any of the 10, they're all great. It doesn't matter that it's." So I just, do you personally know of something? Have you seen something like why does it have to be Kavanaugh as opposed to saying, let's take an easier route with somebody else?
But then when the next person comes up, and then do you just say, okay, well, let's get the next one? And eventually you go through all 10. And
eventually the midterms happen, and there's a new Senate seated, and they're trying, and that's the goal, to get a new Senate, to get more Democratic votes. That's the only goal here. So
whether it was Kavanaugh or the next person on the list, it's good. You're going to do it again.
So you guys think that we're just in this period, and I hope it's not long, but we're in this time that anyone that comes forward is going to have people looking so hard for dirt that someone's going to be willing to come up and say that you cut me off and you swore at me, or whatever it might be, and try to make something out of it.
Exactly.
I actually believe that. Yes.
Yes.
I believe it's become so partisan that they're never gonna agree on anything.
Nope.
So, and this,
I think this caused a divide between the two sides, not to be smaller, but to be generational. We're not going to see two sides coming together in our lifetime now, because this just, they burned every bridge they could light a match to.
So is there anything you think could actually get people together again? Is there something that can unify Americans and not be sides?
Yeah, another 9/11.
Oh, yeah, that's horrible to say, but true.
Yeah, that's the only way I see it, because everybody is so in their own camps that I don't.
And can we get rid of Facebook? Can we just get rid of Facebook?
Yeah. You can leave.
I can't now. I can't.
That's how I feel. Yeah.
Hey, my kids are back east. A lot of families back east. That's a tool for me. But you got to deal with the good with the bad. You got to take it all.
I have unfollowed a few people. I don't know if they know that or not, but that is really one of the worst things out there, because you're not going to change anybody's mind, and yet we keep posting. And I very rarely post political. I stopped. I think the last real political, besides this New York Times thing, was when what was the vice president debates with Biden and Ryan? I was screaming at my television, and I was writing on Facebook, like live streaming pretty much, and then I went, I can't do this anymore.
Yep. So this is Al. Al writes. I edit Al's pieces on the Good Men Project, and he's a really funny guy and a great writer, and you should check him out. But because you're funny, I assumed you couldn't be a Trump fan.
Wow.
So it was only a recent post I realized. Oh, wow! Is Al a conservative guy? Is he like? Oh,
that's awesome right there.
See, well, when I used to be on the Huffington Post, and I used to write stuff, and they would post my stuff on the Huffington Post. And I would get comments like, "Oh, another liberal doesn't know he's talking out of his ass." I'm like, "Wow, really? You have no idea who I am." Yeah. So, what the perception is who you are. Apparently, it's not who you actually are; it's the perception of who you are. So,
that's all people have to go on. Like,
yeah, I mean, I'm not right wing conservative. I'm definitely conservative. I'm more socially moderate or liberal, even. I get more with the money. Spending money and wasting money, i.e. my ex-wife. So that's where I was trained by her to hate wasting money, because that's all
government loves OPM, other people's money.
Yes. And that's really where that's my sticking point.
So you're a fiscal conservative.
Fiscal conservative and a more of a liberal, don't tell my brother, more of a liberal social issues. But yeah, I'm sorry to break your heart, Andy, but I definitely voted for Trump.
Just surprised. It was no effect on my heart. I still love you.
Thank you. If you notice, I never really write anything political in my blogs. It's all just funny stuff. So
yeah, cool.
Yeah. So
So
I
don't
know what could bring everybody together. I really don't. I mean,
because I mean, even throwing away reality, just like, oh, if like I don't know, a new drug. I don't know what. I don't know what.
I mean,
that would work.
Who do you think? Who do you think? And Tony too. What politician, whether running for president or not, who do you think could take the office of president and actually bring both sides together? I mean, I can't think
it's
of
someone. It's someone we don't know. It's
like Trump.
It's got to be the next generation.
Like Trump. Trump was
Trump was divisive from the moment he like.
No, what I'm saying, but Trump came out of the blue. I mean,
that right. In that terms, yeah, it's going to be someone we don't know. I think again, like I was surprised how many people were excited about Bernie.
Right.
When he, so I was like, good God, they're like, so I think there's be someone else, like a surprise that, I don't know.
I think Martin Sheen from The West Wing should run for president. I like President Bartlett. I thought he was excellent. He worked both sides of it. So
yeah, I mean, there are far more fictional presidents that everyone are fans of than reality.
Yes.
Because
so maybe that's it. We need a virtual reality government, maybe?
We do. I think they should just re-edit The West Wing, and every time they have a press conference, just put Martin Sheen up there, and he'll just address, like, push a button. Oh, we have fiscal crisis. Let's push episode 7 from season 7. Just tell us everything's okay.
So I'd like to.
But I don't know. I don't know what could bring everybody together. Unfortunately, what Tony said would probably be one of those things that a major disaster.
That brings us together in pain.
I mean, it's. I remember after 9/11, just everybody was helping everybody, and everybody was on the same page. Yeah. I don't know when that all changed, actually, but
I'm sure it was a gradual. You kind of get used to whatever the state is, and
exactly, and you end up going back to the way things were.
Yeah.
But only further, it seems like we were never as separated before 9/11 as we were after it all died down.
There seemed to be there seemed to be more of a middle and a common for a bad term, like a common American and just the middle of the road and voting voting parties based on the issue or the person and
that doesn't exist anymore.
I heard back in the day, like with Gingrich and when they would argue all day and then go out for a beer at night. Like it was like, this is my job, 9 to 5, but after 5, hey, we'll go down to the bar.
Well, Flake even said it. Senator Flake, with his calling for this invasion and holding the hell pause on the confirmation, he said, if I was running for re-election, I wouldn't do this.
Yeah, I saw
and that's that. That breaks my heart. Not Al being conservative, but that a well-respected senator is like, because ideally politicians are serving the people,
right?
Regardless of if they want to be re-elected or not. Like ideally, your decisions are the same whether you're up for re-election or you have a job for life. But that's what
I heard that too yesterday or this morning.
I heard it yesterday. Yeah. So that blew me away.
I think one thing that would absolutely help is term limits in the
Senate. 100% agreed. Yeah.
I mean,
because
president can only run. Yeah, president can only run twice, and you got these senators. Again, and they're making millions of dollars,
which they shouldn't be. That's not the way our system was.
I'm not sure how that works, but I think term limits would definitely be a step in the right direction.
Yeah, seems so many people are for term limits, but they're like no one writes that bill to
Well, because
once they're there, they're like,
you're writing your job away.
Right? Would you vote for a bill that tells me I could only stay here for 8 years or 10 years? No, they're never going to. The people that are going to do term limits are the people that are going to be affected by term limits, so they're never going to vote for it.
Maybe that'll be Jeff Flake's final day in the office. I'm going to this bill.
Nobody's going to vote for it though. He could do it.
At least he tried, right? He'll have that to be on his tombstone or something.
Yeah. Well,
we should probably do the day after he leaves.
At least I tried.
Your tombstone is the ultimate term limit, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So to bring it back. So, Tony, what do you expect to go forward for Kavanaugh? Do you expect confirmation?
I think they've started the vote. I think he's going to get in. Absolutely, he's going to get in because the FBI report said there's nothing there. Yeah. There's no evidence of anything that he did. And again, I'm talking from they're investigating him. There's no evidence that he did anything. So I have no issues whatsoever. The man's been investigated 7 times by the FBI. I mean, and you can investigate him now 20 times. It makes no difference. There's nothing there. So get it done. Let's move forward.
Yeah.
But you know what? Mark my words. They won't move forward. They will be harping on this for years. Just like they lost the presidency, and it's still, they won't let it go. They're still going to impeach him. It's just, they can't, losses, they don't take well. That's what makes the divide worse. They're like, we lose, you lose, we move on. Next, we get another round in a few years. But that doesn't happen anymore. It's like either they win or they make everybody's life miserable. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
All right. And Al, what do you see?
Well, I think he's going to get confirmed. When's Ginsburg? When's the next one? Ginsburg? Then they'll start all over again. That's when we'll forget about it.
Yeah, she's pledging to stay alive until she's 101 or something. I don't know.
I thought she's lying about her age. I think she's already 101. No, I think Tony's right. They won't let it go until the next issue comes up, and then everybody their focus will be on that. I'm surprised. Who's the last one they just confirmed? The first Trump nominee.
Roberts.
No. The one Trump didn't he just have one last year?
Yes.
I'm surprised we didn't go through this whole thing then.
Well, because the reason for that is because now it's a majority. This is a majority now. Whoever puts this gets the majority, and that's why this is such a huge deal.
That's true. It would be like 5 to 4. No,
4. Yes, 5 to 4.
Or 6 to 4. Or 6 to 3. Is it 5 to 4? Okay.
I think there's 9 justices.
But I think if Ginsburg goes within Trump's term, I think it'll even be worse, because then it'll be 6 to 3.
Yeah,
and it'll be like generational.
Yeah.
So I do think once he's confirmed, I don't think they're going to stay with it as much as they try to impeach him, which I think is almost impossible.
Which is ridiculous. For what?
No, I know, but
well, so judges have been impeached for lying under oath. So if we prove that he boofed and it's not a fart, I don't know if there's someone pursue that. I
never heard that term before, by the way.
I had heard of it. I didn't know about it in high school. I didn't know that was around in the 80s. So that surprised me. I thought anal alcohol was a pretty recent invention, but I guess I'm wrong.
I had no idea.
Yeah. You got me on that one. Okay.
All right. Well, our age is showing then with our lack of knowledge of boofing.
Yes. Yeah, I had never.
Cool. Well, I want to thank you guys for being willing to hop on and share your views, and I get that it can feel dangerous, like you can't speak your mind. So that's why I want to make that safe here. And I don't, I won't be surprised if he's confirmed. But I hope
the vote starts tomorrow.
Something's going to happen. Yeah,
they're going to vote tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a nice, clean shot. I'll be surprised if it happens this weekend, but we'll see. There's a lot of pressure on different Republicans, and some of the female Republicans, the senators are, I don't know. And again, we haven't read the report. We're just hearing stories that the report says there's nothing new. And
bottom line is it's just ugly all the way around and completely unnecessary. This could have been done when the hearings were in, and if it did happen when the hearings were being held, he probably wouldn't be nominated. He probably would have withdrawn, or Trump would have pulled him. But now, when you do this the way they did it, that's kind of like throwing down the gauntlet. So.
All right. Well, stay tuned, world. We'll see what happens. Right? So again, thanks for joining me, Tony. Now, thanks everyone for listening. And whatever your viewpoints, just get out there and vote. If this at least makes people more politically active, great. But you don't need to go firebomb politicians. Please don't go get in their faces, and just don't spread the hate. Just let people know what your support things as opposed to opposing things. I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll be in touch again. The next time breaking news causes the Real Men Fool Committee. I said Real Men Fool. Oh, jeez.
Hello, Dr. Freud.
The Real Men Fool Committee of Elders shall gather when needed. Thanks, everybody.
Great seeing you again.
Have a great day.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you for listening to Real Men Feel. Reach out to us at realmenfeel@gmail.com. Learn more about Andy Grant at theandygrant.com. Until next time, visit realmenfeel.org or the Real Men Feel Facebook group and share what you thought of this episode. Please give this podcast a review on iTunes, Google Play, or wherever you are discovering Real Men Feel. Visit goodmenproject.com for more of the conversations no one else is having.